there, folks. SpaceKev here. About 4 years ago, I was watching George Strombolopoulos interview Gene Simmons from Kiss, and Gene was saying he was looking for some great Canadian bands to sign to his new Simmons records. Well, flash forward to last summer, I was watching the live stream from Bloodstock Open Air, and there was a band that really caught my attention. The band Kobra And The Lotus. I looked them up online. Lo and behold, they were signed to Simmons Universal. And I listened to the very first song I heard from them was 50 Shades of Evil. The song blew me away within the first 10 seconds. A lot of great guitar work and some strong vocals. Well, if you're a fan of like really tight bottom and rhythm section, lots of great dual harmony guitar parts, enough to satisfy the guitar players out there and the air guitarists alike, plus unique and strong, powerful vocals strong enough to probably knock down the walls of Jericho. Then Kobra and Lotus is the band for you. Well, anyways, after their show in Minneapolis, I caught up with Kobra and Jasio from the band, and this is what they had to say.
We're from Kobra And The Lotus.
And you're watching Black Wind Metal.
You have the touring coach of Kobra And The Lotus, and you were mentioning this was something Dan Aykroyd related.
Yeah, this is our fellow Ghostbusters RV, actually, and it's been pimped out. It has a truck engine put in it, and it's turned into the first time ever a touring bus for a band. This is not its usual gig, so.
How did you guys hook up with that? Well, or it's none of your doing?
No, he'll tell you about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of it kind of happened a way about we were doing some filming for this TV show for Spike called Rock City, and Crystal Head Vodka sponsors Rock City, and by means of that, they were so kind to help us out with the vehicle for this tour.
Number 2's on the toilet.
Yeah, I mean, it's a universal bus rule that you can't take a shit on a bus, and if you do, you gotta have like 500 cash on you to like pay the driver to deal with it, kind of thing. Minimum. So yeah, I mean, that eliminates a lot of issues like right off the bat, I think, which is good. Other than that, like just remember to flush and clean after yourself. It's like common sense. The biggest thing when it comes down to it is when you're living in a confined space with any other amount of people, you really have to go out of your way to respect everyone's space, because everyone needs it. Some people need it more than other people.
Sleep's so important. You gotta get as much sleep as possible, you know, so that we can be at our top game for the shows. And it's actually hard to get a lot of good sleep a lot of the time because you're moving all the time, and there's not, for instance, in there we sleep and then we checked into a hotel I think at 6:30 a.m. and you just sleep whenever you can. The thing with touring is you're in and out so fast, you don't really see a lot of stuff. Like we don't get to see the cities very much or enjoy too much of the festivals because we're just going in, and then it's a race for bands I think during the summer because you have to try and figure out how to get to the next country on time to play the next day. And some of the runs we did were just unbelievable. We barely made it on stage, you know, and we'd show up like 15 minutes. Like Hellfest, France, we were all like off our rocker because we hadn't slept for about 3 days because we had been going and traveling so much and non-stop.
And gigging every day.
And gigging, and we got there with literally 15 minutes to stage time, and we were all just like, woo, you know, but you do it, like that adrenaline comes on and you somehow do it.
We've been going like non-stop pretty much since last April, like of 2012. So we did a festival run like across Europe last summer. Did a lot of big festivals down there, which was really cool. We came back to Canada for a little bit. We went back in August to do both Vakken and Bloodstock and like a few more shows around there. When we came back to Canada again, and we went back to Europe. Actually, we did a bunch of gigs with Steel Panther, and then shortly followed by Buckcherry across the UK. And we came back to the US immediately and did a handful of dates with Sonata Arctica across the States. And then we had a couple months off, and then we just did a 45-day tour with Fear Factory
Fear Factor. And your drummer dropped the drums right before you guys came to Minnesota, like a day before or 2 days before. I was really heartbroken about that.
It was sad. It was a sad thing. It was a sad thing for all of us. Couldn't believe it happened, but you know, these things sometimes happen, and at least it didn't break anything. We were worried it was going to take him out for the rest of the summer, but
that was a wild day. We showed up in Oklahoma City and there were tornado sirens going off. It was the same day that like epic tornado hit the States and caused all that damage. So
13 different funnels that day. I want to just add to his touring list because there was a big highlight in there for me. In the middle of the festival run, we played with Judas Priest in their home place. We played in London, Judas Priest and Saxon at the Apollo Hammersmith, and I think that meant a lot to all of us. And we also did 2 dates in Germany with Black Label Society, and they were it's too much. It's too much that's happened in a short period, but just great people and all completely different kinds of bands, which made it really cool.
The first thing you purchased with your own money, whether it's metal or hard rock?
I think for me it was an Offspring CD.
Gotta keep.
Yeah, it's when I was like 8 years old. Like honestly,
it was. I think it was actually Alicia Keys when I was around whenever that song came out. That
Falling In and Out.
Yeah, that one.
Okay.
That was the first thing I purchased.
I think we both kind of got into music the classical route. I mean, her like singing and piano. I did classical piano as well, so I was exposed to music at like an insanely young age. And I mean, I was playing with like little keyboard toys since I can remember, like learning how to play Twinkle Little Star, just figuring it out and shit like that. So I mean, metal. I did the traditional route too, Maiden, Priest, shortly followed by like Metallica, Megadeth, and then flowered out from there.
Okay.
With Judas Priest, what that was not. Well, it was a vocal thing in that when I saw him come out, and it was Painkiller that really did it for me, because the whole Saddle Dome, which is our stadium in Calgary, erupted, and I couldn't believe the energy that was happening and the way the guitar players were running across and doing this dual lead thing, and Helfer comes out and he's just so powerful, but he's also empowering the crowd, and that was the moment where I was like, there's a place for me, because I didn't want to do classical music anymore. I was not wanting to sing opera, and when I saw him, I recognized the spot where I belonged, like immediately, and I thought, okay, I don't have to sing opera. There is actually another place where I can also be myself and sing how I want to, and that's the beauty of metal too, It's like we really get away with these things. They hung a Dreamcatcher over my bed when I was very little, because I had really bad nightmares since the time I could dream, like since I could remember. So they put this Dreamcatcher over my bed, and that just stuck with me. It was this click that was like, that's your protective symbol, so I always have to have them around me and on me. And
yes, you're well decorated with your and then you have one on your arm too, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Is there any? And you got Hebrew there as well.
It looks like Hebrew. It's actually Sanskrit.
Okay.
I've been to India 8 times, and I really appreciate the culture, so not only did I want to write something that had to do, I mean, the words are faith in surrendering oneself, so very universal words, but the language meant something to me, and also it's private that way.
It's a snowflake, actually.
The symbol of the North.
Yeah, somewhat. I mean, it reminds me of home, to be honest, and I spend so much time now, I guess, traveling around, and we get to these foreign places or whatever, and honestly, growing up in Edmonton, I'm used to like the 6 feet of snow and blistering cold. I actually really like that. I'm one of those weird Canadians where like I embrace our full year-round seasons. I guess most people complain, but I like it. I feel a pretty like strong connection with nature, in general. I go to the mountains to reset when I need to like clear my mind for a bit. That's where I feel like good, I guess is a good way to put it.
Well, right after this tour, we're actually going right to Chicago, and we're going to start recording some new tracks. We're going to start writing. We anticipate just holding up with our producer and really cracking down on some writing and getting the main structures. We have tons of ideas. It's just getting them all together and maybe making some new things. We have 2 weeks in August. Then we're going to go back to LA, and we're doing a show there. And we're also doing some filming, I believe, for Rock City. Then we're going to go back to Chicago after we've sat with his songs for 2 weeks, I guess. It's so packed. Go back to Chicago. We work more. We do some tracking as much as we can. Then mid-October, you know, that's going to come real quick. We're going to head over to Belgium and do Female Voices of Metal Fest.
Oh, yeah.
Which will be a first for us. We're very excited. And I can't wait to meet those ladies as well. And we're going to do a few dates in Europe, and then we're going to do a UK tour because it's time. We haven't been there for almost a year now.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And then that'll bring us to the new year pretty much, you know? So
I'm not a... Okay, see, everybody, someone in the crowd always knows that.
It's a guilty pleasure.
I'd like to thank Kobra and Jasio for taking time out of the day to talk with me. Definitely pick up their self-titled debut out now on Simmons Universal. You can pick it up at Amazon. You can pick it up on iTunes, anywhere fine CDs are sold. Check them out on tour. This fall they'll be in Europe at Belgium's Metal Female Voices Festival. Go see them live, pick up their CD. Want to find out more about them? CobraAndTheLotus.com, Facebook.com/CobraAndTheLotus. And if you like independent music criticism steel, go to BlackwoodMetal.com.